Obliviate. Obliviate. Damn, it didn't work. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is the 10th film in the Wizarding World and the second film in this series of Fantastic Beasts movies. And it takes place sometime after the events of the first one, where Grindelwald, played by Johnny Depp, escaped custody from MACUSA and is now somewhere in Paris. Meanwhile, a young Professor Dumbledore, played by Jude Law, sends his former student, Newt Scamander, played again by Eddie Redmayne, to Paris to try to spy on Grindelwald and see what's going on with his big plot. And in this, he's also reunited with Tina Goldstein, played again by Katherine Waterston, and Jacob Kowalski, the Nomad that he met back in the last movie, played again by Dan Fogler, who should not be in this movie whatsoever. So, the Harry Potter series and the Wizarding World altogether has had a huge impact on my life. I've read the first 2 books as a kid, I grew up with the movies, and I don't know if I actually mentioned this on my channel. I know I've mentioned it on Instagram, and I talked about this briefly when I reviewed Hellfest with Rachel, but there was a brief period of time where I actually worked at Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey at Universal Studios Hollywood. I was one of their opening team members, and I pretty much got paid to be a Hogwarts student. So that's just like one of the coolest things in the world. So this whole franchise and this whole world has had a huge impact on me in more ways than one. And with the first Fantastic Beasts movie, I thought it was fun for being a goofy, kinda live-action Pokemon movie, because rewatching it again on Blu-ray, that's pretty much what it is. Newt Scamander going around to try to capture these magnificent magical creatures. But the worst part about that movie is anything involving the character of Credence and anything that tries to set up future events involving Grindelwald. Is it Grindelwald or Grindelwald? Because throughout this entire movie, and even the last one, I keep hearing people pronounce the name with a V instead of a W. But anyway, all that stuff in the first movie just felt very tacked on, and it bored me. But I know anything involving Grindelwald is actually a huge event in the Wizarding World, and fans are eager to see this story play out. So with the first Fantastic Beasts out of the way, now that the series is going to be focused on all this, it has the opportunity to be this grand epic tale. And with this movie here, it's just not. This movie is just so downright boring. It is just nothing but setup. And if this was the 6th movie, like with Half-Blood Prince, then I could understand that because it's near the end of the series. But this is movie 2. This is the 2nd movie out of 5 movies. We still have 3 more movies to go. And if the other movies are like this, then we are in deep trouble. There is so much that's wrong with this movie, and it all has to deal with the script. I know it's written by J.K. Rowling. I know this is her baby. I know that she's pretty much the goddess and the creator of this series. But she is really going down the path of George Lucas, where she seems to be more focused on building up the Wizarding World even more, rather than actually telling a good story, or in this film's case, a story at all, because nothing, I feel like, was accomplished in this film. It's all set up for what's going to happen. It's very incoherent with all the stuff that it introduces, to the point where it just feels pointless. Characters that have already been established come in for no reason. If you've seen the trailers, you know that Nicholas Flamel's in the movie. He has no reason to be in it. You know that Nagini makes her first human appearance. And it plays into the thing that I hated the Star Wars prequels for doing, which is, here's the origin to something that you really didn't care about, but fuck it, we're gonna tell it anyway. So does that mean we're gonna find out at some point that Hedwig was a human being? And then the movie does a horrible, horrible job at explaining how characters from the last movie came back. For example, Dan Fogler returns as Jacob Kowalski, and I had always been against this idea because his story wrapped up in the first Fantastic Beasts. He was obliterated. So how does he come back? How is he wrapped up into the story again? They just simply say it didn't work. That's literally the reason. And then with Credence, played again by Ezra Miller, we saw at the end of the last movie, he was blown to smithereens. He pretty much went out like Lord Voldemort, or I guess since we're in 2018 now, he got affected by the snap from Thanos. And they don't even attempt an explanation on how he came back. He's just there, no reason whatsoever. It's just downright lazy. Now, I don't want to harp on this movie too much, because as much as I criticize J.K. Rowling for focusing on building the world rather than actually telling a story, the world building is still impressive. You still get a sense of magic with being in the Wizarding World. It's actually pretty fun to go back to Hogwarts. Even if it's very briefly, I still got chills when they showed Hogwarts Castle and Hedwig's theme was playing. And there's still a sense of imagination throughout and lots of creativity in building this world. And the big thing that everyone was looking forward to with this movie is the fact that Jude Law is playing a young Albus Dumbledore, and he's really good in the movie. He has screen presence, he has the charisma that Dumbledore had in the first few movies. He mainly pulls inspiration from Michael Gambon's performance because, I mean, sorry for Richard Harris, but he was only in 2 of those movies, and I felt like Michael Gambon was given more to do. But Jude Law is great. The only problem is that he's barely in the movie. He is in it for less than 10 minutes, and the rest of the movie is focused on Newt Scamander, who I cannot buy as a hero. I'm sorry, I don't see what everyone sees in Newt Scamander to be this wizarding hero. With Harry Potter, I get, because it was a miracle that he survived Voldemort's death curse with only a lightning bolt scar. So I get why he's so important, but I don't see at all what makes Newt Scamander so special. Because this is a character that's awkward around other people, he doesn't make eye contact all the time, he is a likable guy when you get right down to it, but nobody in their right mind would ever trust this guy to go spy on the most dangerous wizard out there, which, I guess speaking of Grindelwald, there's really not much to say about him. Like Dumbledore, he's barely in the movie, and it's just Johnny Depp playing another weird character in very weird makeup. I really don't see what J.K. Rowling sees in Johnny Depp. And part of it does have to do with the fact that Johnny Depp is so recognizable that if he was played by a lesser-known actor, or somebody who's not an A-list celebrity like Johnny Depp, then I could probably buy it, but in this movie, it's just Johnny Depp playing Johnny Depp, and it's not that interesting. There is so much more that's wrong with this movie for me, but I can't really say because they would be spoilers, so I'm going to wrap things up right here. For the longest time, The Chamber of Secrets was my least favorite movie in this series. It wasn't technically a bad movie, but there was just a lot about it that I found frustrating. This movie actually makes me furious in some parts. It is the Attack of the Clones of the Harry Potter series. Except I'd rather watch Attack of the Clones over this movie, because as bad as Attack of the Clones gets, and it gets unwatchably bad, at least the story is more consistent and it's easier to follow. It doesn't dedicate as much time to world building as this movie does, and the action is actually pretty cool, and at the movie's lowest points, you at least have John Williams attempting to make it watchable. This movie has no John Williams. James Newton Howard is a great composer, but his score just isn't all that memorable. So I really want to say watch at your own risk, because it does have good moments to it, but at the same time, nothing felt accomplished, so I cannot in good conscience recommend this movie at all. I say don't waste your money on it whatsoever, but if you have to see it, because I feel like those that are hardcore Harry Potter fans are gonna see it anyway. Nothing I say will matter, but for anyone out there who's not a huge Potterhead, if you really are that curious, just wait to rent this. It's not worth going to see it in the theaters, and considering that it's just mostly set up, it's probably better to just wait until the next movie comes out, or the next one. If this doesn't end up making my worst of list at the end of the year, then this is going to be my biggest disappointment. Because as I mentioned before, I'm a big Harry Potter fan. The series has had a huge impact on my life, and as I mentioned before, there was a period of time where I got paid 30 to 40 hours a week to be a wizard at Hogwarts. So to see this movie be as bad as it is and be as disappointing as it is just upsets me. And there you go, that's my review for Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Now I want to hear what you guys have to say. If you've seen the movie, what did you think? Did you actually like this movie, or are you on par with me to where it's disappointing beyond belief? Let me know in the comments below, and until next time, I hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and of course leave a comment. Don't forget to support my Patreon page, follow me on social media, and until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one. Obliviate. Damn, still didn't work.